Okay, another important technique that we're going to need before we can do any work on circles is the completing the square technique, which we did way back in October time when we did quadratic work. Basically what we're going to do is take a quadratic expression involving x squared, x's and a number, and rewrite it as a bracket squared somehow, with some compensation at the end if you remember. Let me give you an example very quickly. If I take x squared plus 6x's plus 1, I'm able to rewrite that as a bracket squared as follows. This is the same thing as, we write it as a bracket squared first of all, like so. If that thing there is an x squared, or 1x squared, then the first term inside the bracket, if you remember, is simply an x. Next, if the number of x's is plus 6x, then this number here will simply be half of that number of x's. That's the technique we talked about way back in October. So if that's plus 6, that needs to be a plus 3. Okay, now as it stands, this thing here is not identical to the line above. Okay, there is a slight difference between the two, because if I just go to the side here and I expand out from our knowledge of how this thing expands out, this at the side, square the first, you get x squared, multiply the two together and double, so that's plus 3x plus 6x, and then you get plus 3 and you need to square it, you get plus 9. So you can see that this thing here, which is the same as that, okay, is x squared plus 6x plus 9. So that's x squared plus 6x plus 9. But I don't want that, I want x squared plus 6x plus 1. Okay, well you can see that quite obviously plus 9, to change it into plus 1, you need to subtract 8. So therefore that expression there is now exactly the same as that expression there. Okay, that was the first one. Let me do another one with you. If I take a quadratic expression x squared minus 10x take away 3, and I say let's complete the square with that, this is what we do. We set up a bracket squared. If that's x squared, we put an x automatically as the first term. Then secondly, we need to find this number. Well, that is simply half of the number of x's, so if it's minus 10x, we have minus 5 there. If you imagine expanding this out, x minus 5, and we squared it, square the first term, you'd get x squared. Multiply the two together and double, you would get minus 10x. And square the second term, you get plus 25. So you can see we've got the x squared, that's fine. The minus 10x, that's fine. But this thing, which is this thing, is plus 25. And we've actually got we want minus 3. So we've got plus 25 and we want it to be minus 3. So that means we must subtract 28. So if you take that thing and take 28 off it, you end up with this expression above. There you go. That's basically the principle of completing the square. For very basic ones, we did much harder ones I think way back in October where there was awkward numbers involved. But I think if you understand that basic principle for circles, that will be enough to get you through the circle questions. Okay.